There are so many great things about co-op games, but I think there's something really special when you can walk away from one and think, I didn't want to kill my partner after that. Rivertale Stronger Together is a co-op 3D action-adventure platformer by Kid Onion Studio that actually stands by its name. You and a friend play as Furple the cat and Finn the fish, who help each other out as they journey through some wild environments together to try and save Furple's family. There's something about a couch co-op that instantly gets me excited to try it out, even though actually finding a co-op that isn't a chore to play or is temper-inducing for myself and my husband is really hard to find. We have very different play styles that are particularly exacerbated by platformers, you know, the ones that try and keep you on the same screen together all the time. One of us is always running ahead or messing things up for the other. We're just always stepping on each other's toes a lot. Rivertale Stronger Together never had this problem. This is because of the asymmetrical gameplay. Furple and Finn are not ever trying to do the same thing, so we never actually got in each other's way. You can't even really occupy the same space on the screen, as Finn needs to stay in the water and Furple can't swim. The mechanics are really simple. There are only 3 actions you can take. You can jump, grab, or run, and using these 3 things you need to work together to progress up the river to Furple's home, doing things like pulling on flowers, knocking out frogs, pushing up platforms, or opening gates. Progressing through the level felt fairly intuitive, and because of how generous the camera is, we actually scouted ahead using Finn and then planned our path as we went. This was particularly useful for finding the collectible feathers, which unlock something in the level if you find them all. I can't actually tell you what that is because we were still missing 2 by the end of the demo, and we even doubled back a lot to go and look for them. It was quite a cozy experience and easy to play together and didn't stress us out, which is not always the case when we play co-op, and this is even though I died a lot. It seems a bit easier to stay in the water than not to fall into it. But there was no harsh punishment for dying. It's just a quick zip back to the last checkpoint and continue on. There's even an opportunity to rescue each other if you end up in the wrong place. Something that I found useful while playing was that both characters have a circular indicator for their location when they're doing jumps, and are also visible as a shadow when they pass behind objects, which was just super useful as we moved about the level because we never ended up getting lost to ourselves. I liked the way that even in the alpha demo that we played, we saw a lot of changing mechanics across the level, and I hope that continues into the boss fights and the later levels. I particularly liked the bouncing flowers, but found throwing the bulbs at the frogs a little bit clunky to start with. Also, I'm not used to hating frogs. That was new. As we were nearing the end of the level, there was that sort of build up of anticipation of, oh my gosh, we're about to go into a boss fight, and I was so keen to see what would happen mechanics wise because we've seen such a change going through the level, and that was when the demo ended. And I just take it as a really good sign that the demo finished, and I felt like, the music for the game is really light and fun, and it has this feeling of curiosity and adventure to it, which really matches the gameplay. I feel fairly bad saying that it wasn't particularly memorable to me after I finished playing, but I also don't think that's a bad thing in this case. It wasn't noticeably looping while we played, which can be really grating in certain games, especially with how much we were doubling back to try and find feathers. And I think if it had looped and been obvious, I would have been annoyed by it instead of it just enhancing the experience. The art style is very cartoony, which initially had me thinking the game was targeted at children, and it did make me apprehensive to play it in the first place because it's not the kind of art style that generally intrigues me for a game, but I definitely think the gameplay can be for all ages, and the art style actually grew on me as we played. The environments absolutely pop with all of these bright colors, and because of the way the camera works, you can see how the level floats against this wider backdrop, which looks really cool. Overall, Rivertale Stronger Together is fairly relaxing, and it's a bright and fun adventure. I didn't find it particularly challenging as a platformer, but then I don't necessarily need a hardcore challenge every day. I quite like games that are just easy to get into and play. I think its strongest asset is that everything about it felt like it was trying to get us to work together as we played, and it did that really well. There is a Kickstarter currently ongoing if you would like to check it out. There are also links in the description below if you would like to follow along with development, and if you've had an opportunity to play the demo, I would love to hear what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you'd like to see some more. I also put up Let's Plays every Wednesday. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!